I'd like to call the Board of Public Works and Safety meeting to order. Today, September 8th, it's 9:03 a.m. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Nelson, lead us, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will we be able to address that noise, or are we good?
She'll probably need to mute when she's not talking.
Jess, could you mute when you're not have a question, please? Jess, are you muted? Oh, I think we just lost. I'm sure she's thrilled about the timing of that picture too. There she is. So I think she's muted. Approval of minutes. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion, questions? Karen?
That motion was for both sets of minutes. 2 cents.
So that motion, if you could amend for both.
Yep. I second amending to both sets of minutes.
So I have a motion and a second for approval of both sets of minutes. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Public comment, whether via social media. Bert Cook, would you like to make a public comment here, introduction?
Thank you. Good morning to the Board of Public Works. Bert Cook, Executive Director of the LaPorte Economic Advancement Partnership. Just wanted to share this morning that we have a new staff person who started with us a couple days ago. Eric Nelson is now the Workforce Development Coordinator for LEAP. We're very excited to get him on board and up to speed. He will be coordinating a series of programs, but all are aimed at drawing more of our population into the workforce and helping our local employers find the people they need to be successful. So we're excited to have him on the staff and appreciate the opportunity to introduce him this morning.
A few words from Mr. Nelson.
Good morning, everybody. Happy to be here. Like Bert said, just started a few days ago. I'm ready to dive in and get after it and help make a difference in the community. So, thank you.
We wish you the best.
Thanks. Congratulations. Welcome.
I'm going to ask, is it possible to FaceTime?
Let's do so.
Okay. Clerk Treasurer, claims approval.
We have civil city claims in the amount of $749,987.44. That does include payment for the generator at the police station, the second half of the website fee, and September health insurance.
I have a motion to approve.
I move we approve the civil city claims.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
We have two payrolls that need to be approved. The first is for August 20th, in the amount of $432,134.54.
Move we approve the August payroll.
I will second that. I have a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
Before we get too far, I just want to double check with the city attorney. Since Ms. Rowan is doing remote, do we have to do a roll call on each one?
We do, but she's not currently participating. You are correct. So anytime she is voting, it will need to be a roll call.
Thank you. And then we have the September 3rd payroll in the amount of $413,702.63.
I move we approve the September payroll.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
We have wastewater claims in the amount of $1,302,458. Try that again. $1,302,458.36. That does include paying back 2 temporary loans. One is 2 major roofs for the Boyd Boulevard property we bought a couple years ago, and the other is to pay back the 2015 sewage construction bonds. We borrowed money from there to set up the wastewater, or the stormwater fund.
I move we approve the wastewater claims.
I will second that. We have a motion and a second. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
And the last is for water in the amount of $177,259.62.
I move we approve the water claims.
I will second that. Discussion. Hearing none. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Thank you. So we are going to move directly, we're going to move the agenda item directly to the real estate exchange.
Sure.
And we're going to put Ms. Romine, if we can take just a moment to FaceTime. Technology and action. Hey, Jess, can you hear me? Jess Romine? Jess, can you hear me? She could be driving enough.
She'll probably have to end.
She won't be able to vote unless we can physically see her, though. That's required.
Hey, do you do FaceTime?
So.
Okay, we're gonna put the real estate exchange on right now, and I'm gonna put you next to a mic, okay?
Think about that, Nickotis.
And what is your
I think
question?
there was something in there that we decided, do you remember that we had signed an agreement that the person had to be visually seen?
Correct, right.
So we
Is
will,
that true?
Yes,
So
she
do we
can't
need to
vote. She
just-
could certainly ask questions. She just can't vote since we can't physically see her.
okay, so is there somebody there that has FaceTime? Because if that would follow.
Oh, okay, let me use your phone. You have an iPhone, don't you?
We'll just take a,
Just FYI for everybody, so I have to abstain from this vote, so that's why it's really critical to get just on the line. Visually.
so do you want to have somebody call? Which number? Thank you.
Could move to other agenda items while we get this, while this gets set up.
I can do FaceTime.
Well,
If,
for purposes of voting,
That's the
the idea is that, yeah, everybody here can see them. And that's required, that's not just our rule, that's required by statute. Yep.
Nick, do you want to let her know?
You want to take up a different item while you're waiting for her?
Well, how quick are we?
We're just waiting for her to reconnect.
Let's keep while we got her. Just take a moment here.
Okay. No, there isn't any. I did.
Bert was the only one. Well, while you're doing that, I guess you think we're close? Has she responded?
Yep.
Request for use roof set information. Let's go ahead and, I believe we do not have to vote on this.
No,
but,
it's just
Beth West?
informational, information, basically. Past administration has asked that the roof set committee come before Board of Works to let you know that we are gonna have traffic restrictions on State Street for the Deserving Children's Roof Sit, which is gonna be held just this Friday, the 10th, from 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. It was asked by the police and fire chief for them to go down and double check the traffic flow due to the construction of the new portion of the hospital, and neither one of them feels that there's gonna be any problems. We've been doing this for 19 years, so we're kind of used to stopping everything, moving traffic out of the way for emergency vehicles. So I think we'll be okay, but it was just to let the board know that that's what's going on Friday.
Because your goal is to stop everybody, right? And
Well, yeah,
collect a check.
yeah.
And what is the goal to raise this year?
This year, it's 45,000. We were close to that last year, which was way over our expectation because of COVID, which we are also implementing COVID restrictions this year. We're doing curbside service for lunches, trying to social distance. Everybody's required to wear masks, so we're going to keep it as safe as we possibly can.
Thank you to you and the entire team for making this happen.
Thank you.
Making a difference.
Yep.
Questions? Jess Romine, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you guys.
Great, let's go ahead and move. Great work, team. Good job. Let's go ahead and move to Nickotis Real Estate Exchange Agreement.
Thank you. So this was, I was not at the city council meeting last night, as I understand it. This did pass the city council. It's a pretty extensive exchange with the LaPorte Community School Corporation in between the city and the school. And I think it's a mutual benefit to both parties. So I'll try to hit the high points, and then if you have questions, don't hesitate to stop me in the middle. So there's a couple parcels exchanging, and then there's some easements. So this LaPorte Community School Corporation is going to acquire from the city a 12-acre parcel near Boyd Boulevard and Stevens Road. And as I understand it, the idea is that this is where the bus barn, the transportation facility will be moved, which is currently off of A Street here in LaPorte, near the Kiwanis football field. And so they will obtain that parcel from the city. The city will acquire a couple different parcels. First, parcel commonly known as Scott Field, which the city already takes care of. It's a park near Jefferson Avenue. The city will also obtain the Coke building, which is kind of on the east side of town, or building formerly known as the Coke building. It's where a lot of technology, the technology department of the school corporation was, and I believe that's moved to the old Boston Middle School now. Is that correct, Mr. Kozier?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and then potentially the ESC that's being.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
as well.
The transfer of the Coke buildings not to take place actually until 24 months after the effective date of this agreement. The school is going, or the city is going to receive what is currently known as the transportation or bus barn facility adjacent to A Street. And certainly we could let Jerry speak to what we hope to address with some water detention issues in that area that have been plaguing that area for many, many years. Another portion of a parcel off of the school corporation obtained what is currently farmland adjacent to the ESC building on A Street. And the city is going to obtain a portion of that on the west side of the property that's kind of wooded, and this will allow Jerry to expand, is that correct, Jerry, the detention facility in that area, or at least improve? Expand and improve the water detention facility in that area. There's water issues with a couple adjacent subdivisions that will be alleviated by this. The school is also going to receive an easement for access to that as well. Make sure I've covered.
Well, I've got a presentation that'll
Got it.
follow it. So.
Good, okay. There are parcels that the school, or that the city is also getting from the school corporation along 18th Street, which would be west of the Kessling campus, that may eventually be developed for residential, that we are also agreeing to try to incorporate the building trades program from the LaPorte Community School Corporation to help build those parcels. The city's also, well, part of this agreement also requires the school to make improvements to the Stevens Road, which is the access for the new transportation facility on Boyd. And I believe that should cover the high points of this agreement. So Mr. Kosher is correct, since he is a school board member, he has to abstain from voting. So looking for approval. This was already approved by the council last night.
And before we do that, and just for mine, we need to see her, correct? So if she can adjust.
Yep.
All right. And we have a brief presentation that.
There we go. Jessica, can you unmute? All right. So
Yeah. You guys can hear me?
yes, so I'm looking for a motion to approve the real estate
I'll make
exchange.
a motion to approve the real estate exchange resolution with the school.
I will second that. We'll move to discussion where we can make the presentation. Okay.
Has the school board already voted on this?
The school board had an executive session last evening where they discussed this, and they will bring it before the board next week. If the school board makes any changes to that, we will then come back before the council on the 20th and the Board of Works for the 21st with any changes. But the city council passed this 7-0 last evening. And we do appreciate everyone's patience as we work through this. Here we go. So as Mr. Otis mentioned, we're working with the school corporation probably close to a year now on a solution to help both parties. Obviously, as Mr. Otis mentioned, the bus garage was a big concern for the school corporation as well as for residents.
She just needs to be able to hear you. You're good. They're good.
What the school corporation will receive from the city is 12-acre parcel along Boyd Boulevard, Stevens Road, next to the wastewater plant, as well as our commitment, if we do find appropriate housing to be built, that we will engage in the LaPorte school system's building trades, individual giving an opportunity for young people in the high school to develop skills related to construction. What the city of LaPorte will receive, if you look here at 18th and A Street, approximately 8 acres along A Street, or along 18th Street, north of the row of trees, for some opportunity for development of housing, as you see on the next slide. But we've heard everywhere in the city of LaPorte, we need all types of housing, and 18th and A gives us an opportunity for some potential housing, and as you can see, the conceptual housing map there along 18th Street. As well, access, and Jerry may speak to this, access to the Torino Pond. We have had some flooding in the north portion of Fairfield for some time, and this gives us access to address some of the flooding that's been happening there for residents. And this is just another picture of the southwest corner at 18th and A, where that access will happen on the other side of the small forest there, to have access to that Torino Pond along A Street, just south of 18th. As well, we will be taking on the property that's the current bus barn property. From a lower perspective, the lower portion of this land will help our wastewater address flooding issues on B Street. And as you look on the upper portion, conceptual housing, again, looking at housing, the opportunity to develop there as well. And then the Coke building on Rumley Street, we see this as a building that could be an opportunity for workforce training. We hear skill up. Where can we do that? Right now, the high school kids go to Michigan City to set up training and work there. We feel that there's some opportunities here that might develop into workforce training or possibly additional housing there on Rumley Street. This is the building that we will not take ownership for at least 24 months. The school system will be transitioning their departments out of that building, so we have enough on our plate. We're not in a hurry for this as well. And we see this as an opportunity for future growth, this land swap. As we talk about 30 by 30, housing is a key of all types. And this will give us an additional arm to provide housing for city residents and people from outside that looking to come to the city of LaPorte. And then obviously it allows the school corporation to address a bus garage situation that is much needed and that I think residents will be behind and support. So with that, are there questions from Ms. Romine or Mr. Kozier?
I'll just make one comment to clarify.
No, not for myself. Thank you, Mayor.
Just to clarify that, Mr. O's, when you brought up the movement of the technology, I mentioned the ESC. It's the old ESC building that is going to be reconfigured with HVAC to handle kind of the heat of servers. So that's in process still. So, and just a quick mention regarding the transportation building, the bus barn. It's a piece of property that is really far too small for the purpose. And the need that we have for the school corporation. And I'm okay making these comments, right?
Yep.
The other piece of it is that building is very old and in need of quite a few repairs. So it's one of those situations where it's really going backwards, were we to try to do something on that piece of property. So it really is, this agreement is really something that benefits both parties, kind of as I look at it from two different seats with two different hats.
One question came up from the city council last evening, which from Councilman Galloway was any concern of environmental issue under the current bus garage? And Nick Minnick, if you don't mind addressing that.
Yeah, the school corporation has put together or commissioned a phase 1 environmental investigation, so we have a pretty good background of what's been there over time. There were some underground storage tanks, but there's no indication that there's any leaking or anything like that. So fuel handling happened at the site, but we're not looking at major condition based on the reports we have.
And is there also not a fund for cleanup of this sort?
There is, yeah. Anybody that has a storage tank like that pays into a fund, so the school corporation would have been paying into the fund, and then there are dollars available to remediate projects like this.
But to be clear, there's not an environmental concern as we speak.
Based on the documents we reviewed, we don't have any environmental concerns.
Thank you. Further
Mayor,
question? Oh,
just
Mr. Otis.
real quick, that, as Mr. Kosher pointed out, the approximate acreage of the current bus barn facility is 3.5 acres and going to 12 acres, so it certainly is quite a bit bigger. And our firm represents a lot of school corporations. One of the ways the state has made it a little harder to fund bus projects, so you have to keep buses longer, so maintaining them is really, really important. So having good transportation facilities is really important for the buses to last at least 10 years, Mark, if I have correct?
It's up to 12.
12, yeah, maybe 12. So our current facilities aren't really set up to do that.
Further questions? With that, I do have a motion, I do have a second. All those in favor state by saying aye, and what we will do is we will take roll call. So Jess Romine?
Aye.
I guess I take my own. Tom Dermody? Aye. And Mark Kosher?
Abstain.
So we have 2 yes votes and 1 abstain. This agreement passes 2-0 with Mr. Kosher abstaining. Thank you, Jess Romine. Is that all we need from her, Nick?
Yes.
Regarding this?
Yep.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, guys. Have a great meeting.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move to, we're actually putting department heads at the bottom because of all this. So we're going to go ahead and do department heads now. I'm going to move it back up that we've solved that one. So please be brief to the point, and if you do not have business with the Board of Works after your update, please go enjoy the day. Jeff Batchelor, Code Enforcement.
Good morning. Not too much to report. We're right around 3,500 violations so far this year. We just keep trucking along. That's about it.
Thank you. David Heinold, Planning.
Good morning, David Heinold, City Planner. Not much to report. We have a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting next Tuesday, a couple variance items on the agenda. Did get the planters fixed in Michigan and Jefferson and Michigan and Lincoln Way. Other than that, working on some just general items, but for the end of the meeting.
Thank you. Jen Knoll, Human Resources.
We're just busy working on the handbook update for 2021 and hope to have that completed within the month.
Mark Schreiber, Park Department.
Morning. Just wanted to report on a couple projects real quick. The disc golf course at Kessling Park is nearly completed. It is able to be used right now. We are looking at an October dedication for that. And then the park board did approve paving the parking lot at Lindewald Park, and I'm working with the engineering department to get bids and get all the specs put together for that. And then Friday, we do have a rescheduled movie night. The Moonlit Movies in the Park will be at Ladden at the amphitheater on Friday night at sundown.
Bert Cook, Economic Development.
I have no report this morning, Mayor.
Beth West, Transport.
We completed our PMTF grant bid before the end of last month, so it has been submitted to the state. Next week, I have a virtual state audit review with them. They said it's virtual, and then I'm also working on our ADA audit for this year with NERC, which is due next month.
Thank you. Jess Bruder, Communications.
Good morning. Website project is complete minus a few edits that we can be making in-house. Any typos, broken links, or suggested changes can be forwarded to myself, jruger@cityreport.in.gov. Sunflower Fair is next weekend, along with the next event in our Friday Night Live event series, Harvest Moon. That'll be September 17th from 6 to 10 p.m. And I want to say thank you to Edward Jones for being our sponsor. And that's it for me.
Yes, thank you, Edward Jones. We appreciate that support. Tim Warner, Water.
Thank you, Board. We started our third and final phase of our Scada upgrades for the plant. That's what.
Sorry, Tim, can you guys make sure your mics are close?
Yeah, we started our third and final phase of our Scada upgrades. That's what brings data into the plant and allows us to use supervisor control, turn the valves on, pumps on remote sites. So we're excited about that. We finally did get item approval for the new well field. We have a tentative drill date in 2 weeks for the test wells for Soldier Memorial Park with the 2 new wells we're hopefully going to put in that area. The Monroe Street main project, we're also putting new water main out in Monroe Manor. It has passed the first phases of pressure testing and a back tease test, so it is moving along really good out there. That's all I have.
Jerry Jackson, wastewater.
As Tim noted, Monroe Manor is proceeding well. Hopefully we'll have that phase buttoned up and asphalt over it and restoration, and then in the spring start the second phase. I'd ask the board open bids on the Mclean Road sanitary sewer in unfinished business. I didn't get that on the agenda, my mistake. I have a doctor's appointment, so I'm gonna have to run. I just asked the bids be opened and the bids be read, and then they be referred to engineering and wastewater for recommendation and review.
That's an important one to keep moving, so.
It is. We got a development there, and we got a number of customers who are very interested in connecting, so. And Tony Hendricks is here, the engineer, so he can help with questions.
Can always rely on Tony. Nick Minnick, engineering.
No report today.
Mike Frey, street department.
We're out street sweeping, cutting trees, patching, and crack sealing.
Chief Breton, police.
Really don't have anything except that we're down from 4 officers with COVID to 2 now. We have 2 back and holding our own. So we hope this was, 3 of those were unvaccinated. Officers, 1 was vaccinated, but his wife unfortunately works with COVID patients, so kind of got it that way. So that's all I have.
Chief Snyder.
On that note, word from 3 to 1 that is still off with COVID, so hopefully we're in the right direction too. The board had previously approved for the Merit Commission to promote an opening created by Zach Caney from the training chief's position. Last week, they did promote Eric Jedrzejek to that position. That did create an opening in an inspector's position that Eric had vacated, so they will address that hopefully at their next meeting. And then also, we did receive word from FEMA on Friday that we were approved for a Assistance of Firefighters grant, which will replace all of our 3-inch hose and 3 new positive pressure fans, battery-operated positive pressure fans. It's about that $26,000 grant that we were able to get.
What is the individuals being down with COVID done to the staffing from your shifts? Each of you, I'll ask police and fire.
We're really increasing on the overtime right now. We have to meet those shift minimums. As I mentioned, we have 1 right now. We had 3 active cases, down to 1, but we do have another individual. His wife tested positive. He is unvaccinated, so he is off under quarantine under the new policy again. It's those little side things that are hitting us too. And we've got 2 overtimes called in for today because of that.
Chief Breton.
We're doing the same thing with overtime. We're holding officers over 4 hours and then bringing an officer in 4 hours for a leak to cover. We haven't been hit real hard with it. That's a fortunate thing.
Thank you. Anybody else that I missed? Great. Let's go ahead and move to new business. We'll work with the Sunflower Fair requests. Annette Leffler.
The Sunflower Fair came before the board on July 20th and got permission to close Michigan Avenue between Lincoln Way and Osborne. They have found that they need an additional block and a half, and so they would like to extend that closure on Michigan Avenue all the way to Alexander. And that's to accommodate more cars for their car show.
Very popular. Do I have a motion to approve?
There's one more little part,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
And it also, they're asking to close Osborne between Monroe and Indiana to accommodate the cars going in and out. And they have spoken to the businesses in the area, and they're not going to be affecting anybody.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved, and I guess, so a
And I'll
couple.
second that.
Those couple of those things you mentioned, I think that they're not on their request, right? So, I mean,
These
we
two
need to
things
mention
were
that.
not
in
on the original request. If they're asking to amend their original request.
Okay, oh, okay, I'm sorry, okay.
You got a motion to approve the amended request.
The amended
Yes.
request. So I do have a motion and a second, because I did notice the rib cook-off, so that's always important. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Home hold harmless agreement with Rural King, Annette Leffler.
Okay, so we originally asked the board to allow the mayor to sign a hold harmless agreement with Rural King so that the state could use the Rural King parking lot as a drive-through vaccine clinic. A couple weeks ago, it was kind of a last-minute request from the state to use it again. The request came on a Wednesday or a Tuesday, I honestly don't remember, and they were gonna set up Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so I went ahead and emailed the board, but we had the mayor sign this, and this is just to ratify that he signed this. It's the same agreement that we signed the first time, and I want to add that this is going to happen again. The state calls me like on a moment's notice and say, I can get a vaccination clinic up here if you can get me that parking lot. We'd like to have the ability to okay that.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Mayor, if I could, I would make a recommendation that the board give you authority during the public health emergency declared by the governor that you're able to execute these documents so we don't have to come back after the fact.
That's what I thought we were doing.
Well,
I like the way he said it better.
That way it expires if the governor, presumably we won't need to do this if there's not a public health emergency by the governor. So I think that gives it kind of a cutoff date, so.
So moved.
Based on Mr. Otis's
With Mr. Otis's recommendation, recommended wording.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Chief Breton, sad day.
You have the letter in front of you. Corporal Joe Toth is going to retire. His last day will be the 15th of this month. He's always said that 20 years of policeman is going to be enough, and he's moving on. I believe he also worked, Jerry's gone, it was 11 or 13 years with the wastewater before he came to the police department. So he's a long-time employee. I hate turning that one in, but he's earned it.
And it is the 16th.
His last day will be the 15th, actual work day, and 16th he'll be officially done.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion, and just say Joe Toth, I mean, he's a great officer, set a wonderful standard, and he will be missed, and we wish him well.
He's earned it.
Yes.
All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Jen Knoll.
Good morning. After we had the meeting last week regarding the updated communicable disease policy, it became apparent that we needed some clarifying language for the accommodation requests. So We've just updated that to read, there may be exceptions to those who have a medical condition with physician note or written religious doctrine that would prevent them from either wearing a mask or getting a COVID test. Requests for exceptions must be sent to HR, who will then review the documentation with the city attorney, and the city complies with Title I of the ADA and Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. Nick, are you okay with that? Okay.
Yes.
So we're just asking for your approval, retroactive to last week's meeting, just because we're not changing the policy, it's just clarifying language.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Thank you. David Heinold, bids for 150 Pine Lake, the Don George property. Excited to see what happens today.
David Heinold, City Planner. This is the bid opening for 150 Pine Lake Avenue, and I believe
This was advertised in the Herald Dispatch on August 13th and August 20th. We had 2 bids received.
so. I have a bid amount of $45,100 proposed by, excuse me if I get this wrong, Acacia Inc., 541 Waverly Road. Do I have to read the proposal, or?
I think we're just going to take these for
Bid.
review.
Right, and there's another bid too?
There are 2 bids, and we'll take with the team, I think the goal is to take the team who reviewed the last ones,
Well,
yourself.
legal review, engineering review, because it's not just the highest bid that the city's necessarily accepting. There's, based off of what their future plans are as well, so correct.
As well as economic development, I think who was all in that meeting? So engineering, legal, economic development,
And Mr. Heinold, yep.
and planning.
So this bid proposes a price of $125,000. Gen 3 Enterprises LLC, 1722 Armour Court, Chesterton, Indiana.
That's fine there. So the official motion should be,
That this will be taken under advisement and brought back at the next Board of Works meeting after legal, engineering, economic development, community development review.
a motion to approve.
Basically moving to accept the bids.
We're not accepting the bid, we're reviewing the bids. Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so moved, yeah. Stick with Mr.
And I will
Otis's word.
second that. Discussion. So again, just to clarify for everybody, these 2 bids will be reviewed by engineering, legal, planning, and economic development. And at the next Board of Works meeting,
Right.
a request of one or for approval to
Correct.
accept one of those 2 bids.
Or
if-
possibly reject both of them. We don't know yet. This is a difficult project because of the state of, the condition of the building. We previously had to reject the prior bid because it was too low. And so I think we're all aware that part of the wall, one wall is falling in, I think, right now, and that there's sections of the roof that Chief Snyder's very concerned about from a fire standpoint, so there's a lot to consider.
Well, and I'm going to ask that this group also contacts Chief Snyder and includes him from the bids to make sure that he's comfortable that hopefully these buildings will be demolished, or the building will be demolished as close to immediate as possible. It needs to, this year, so that's the goal and should be included in that. So I do have a motion, I seconded, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Thank you, David. Mary Ann Richards.
Good morning. I have a Cdbg COVID grant modification request with Catholic Charities, and I'm just asking for the grant agreement to be extended to December 31st of 2021. The original ending date was December 31st, 2020. Last year we extended the time period to September 30th of this year, and I'm just asking for another extension until December 31st, 2021. All the other terms will remain as is.
Sorry, I'm missing my sheet. And again, you're just extending it 3 months.
Correct.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion.
And was that, so were they unable to utilize the funds kind of at
It
this
gives them
point?
more time to spend the money.
Okay.
And is Catholic Charities focused on food or a combination? Rent
This grant is
assistance?
for rental assistance, utility assistance, and prescription assistance.
Do you know, have an update on the rental assistance portion since the moratorium has ended?
Right, the moratorium has ended. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly this money gets spent now that federal unemployment benefits have ended and the moratorium, the eviction moratorium has ended.
And there are job opportunities. If the people here that are receiving those, do they connect them to job opportunities as well?
That I don't know.
So I do have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0.
Thank you, and I have copies for your signature.
Perfect. Nick Minnick, request to rebid Emergence vehicle preemption.
We had bid our emergency vehicle preemption project. This is to add a GPS type device for signals in the east side station area. We didn't receive any bids. We actually were supposed to receive these bids last week and none came in. We would like to rebid this, and what I'll do is I'll reach out to the pre-qualified INDOT contractors to do this work. There's very few contractors that actually do this work because INDOT does a lot of it on their own as well. I know of one in the area that generally does, and they may be busy, but I think rebidding and maybe looking at contract dates would probably help us. So I'm just requesting to rebid this and keep on working towards getting some preemption there.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion. So why hasn't, in your opinion, anybody not bid this?
I think there's just so few contractors that do this type of work regularly. The state does a lot on their own, so when they kind of do new projects, I mean, Hawk is one that does it, but they've been doing a lot of projects around here, so they may just be a little busy. I think rebidding should hopefully get us some bids.
Is there any opportunity for the state to do this for us in some way?
we could always ask. We could potentially buy the equipment and have them install it. That might be an option. It's never come up as something they've been willing to do, but that doesn't mean we couldn't try. So, I think we can explore that option while rebidding also.
And for the record, the bids were advertised in the Herald Dispatch on August 13th and August 20th to receive bids.
So I do have a motion and a second for the discussion. Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Request for approval professional services for Clear Lake Loop and Truesdale with VS Engineering.
The Clear Lake Loop and Truesdale project we'd like to really get moving, and the first step in that is to have some survey completed. So we have a proposal here from VS Engineering. We try and use local firms when we can. VS they've got some good survey capabilities. The proposal's for $77,000, and as a reminder, this is a fairly large project, probably in the close to $4 to $5 million total when you look at all the work. So this survey work would be essentially everything around Clear Lake and along Truesdale. And I would recommend, and they have the capacity to get out there and get it done pretty quick for us. Would recommend approval.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second that. Discussion. So when you say Truesdale, that is, we're talking about the road.
We're talking about reconstruction of Truesdale and some realignment for the issues with geometry. So this is a Heart of LaPorte project. Part of this is funded by the Healthcare Foundation, not the road portion. The trail portion is funded by the Healthcare Foundation. So it's a pretty big, exciting project for us.
Man, did you hear that? Truesdale is getting done. That should excite everybody.
I think I've broken a couple of bike rims right on that road. Yeah.
Not much longer.
Yes.
So with that amount, though, is this something that, I mean, we obviously legally, Mr. Otis, like, we don't need to bid this, but.
Professional services.
Okay.
So I have a motion and a second. Further discussion? I just would like to say I'm very excited about this. I'm almost as excited about the road as I am the loop, because it's been a long time coming. So all those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Request approval with conditions.
We had a request from Downtown Delights. I don't know if anybody was able to go out for their soft opening. I've heard great things. They were asking for outdoor dining. What they've requested, all in all, looks pretty good. We've had some issues with the building overall with ADA accessibility. The original plans had the sidewalks outside kind of at the same elevation as the doors, but along Monroe that didn't end up happening during construction. So this unit in particular has ADA access through the front, but then to get to this dining area, you have to kind of go around the corner. It's not ideal, but I think it'll be fine. The request that we've made, the things that we would ask of them is that they don't put a fence along the sidewalk side. If you put a fence there, the tables would no longer be ADA accessible. And then also, we always like to review the actual tables and chairs to make sure they're substantial enough that they won't be obstructions in the road, which happens if we don't get nice furniture. So,
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second that. Discussion. So I'm clear, so that the outdoor seating will be along Lincoln Way and not Monroe.
It'll be along Monroe.
And if somebody has to have ADA accessibility, will they be able to stay in a wheelchair built to get around from Monroe?
Yeah, originally when Sarah Nimitz went and did her site review on this one, the state hadn't kind of improved the sidewalks, and there's still some grades that aren't perfect, but we think that it's probably okay for people to get out the front and around the corner to this location.
So the front, a wheelchair can move through the front, because obviously you can tell it that side door, but, so are you saying also that it's the surface right there?
Is
Yeah,
the issue?
and that's an exterior issue, that's not necessarily a building issue.
Okay.
And this fenced area is permanent,
Seasonal.
seasonal, okay. So I do have a motion and a second for the discussion.
Well, I haven't been there, but my family went without me. They didn't even tell me, so.
I think it had a fantastic 3-day, 4-day, maybe, soft opening, so we wish them well. All those in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Approval of sale of water department
Yeah.
property.
The county has a project at 150 in Lofgren Road, 150 and 250 in Lofgren Road at that intersection. They're lowering the intersection as a safety improvement. There's some sight distance issues. In doing so, the water department is going to have to lower and relocate their water main. All in all, it's not a great deal for the city, but and that's mostly around the state and federal highways rules for utility reimbursement. So this is not reimbursable to the city to do that work. But the one thing we do get is they have to acquire the property. So we have an offer here, and I would recommend acceptance with the condition that we add an easement back to the property. So essentially, we sell them the property. The price is $7,300. That's $300 in damages, $7,000 for the actual value of the property, and that's a 0.472 acre property. But then with the condition that we maintain an easement for utilities within that property. So essentially, we won't own it. We'll get a little bit for it, and then we'll still be able to maintain the water utilities that we need in that area. I've talked to both the county planner and then also County Commissioner Merzinski, and they have verbally offered to have their highway department offer some assistance, whether that be equipment or operators, to relocate the water main, which the water department plans to do in-house. So we're trying to keep their costs down, since kind of an unexpected cost that we really have no control over.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. So moved.
And I will second the amended version, which includes
Easement
an
access.
easement access. Discussion?
Just so from the standpoint of the city, the water department, the ownership of the property is really ancillary to being able to access it, right? As far as having that easement.
No, so it's, there's the road right away, and then the city owns a little kind of strip along the road, and that's where the water utilities are. If we have an easement over it, we can continue to maintain and use it. So that's, yeah.
There's an 18-inch raw water main that feeds out of the Kankakee well field that comes up 150 and feeds into the east side plant on East Lincoln Way there. So we have to drop that water main about 5 to 7 foot on the top of the hill for landslide issues. We did not qualify for any state assistance on this program when I had meetings with the state. NIPSCO, Comcast, everybody else, utility movement is being paid for, at least a portion of it through the state. Their answer to me was because it's out of our service area and out of our corporate limits that we don't qualify for that help. So yeah, it is an unexpected cost for the water department that we're going to do. So we will do that work in-house with help from the county, from some high hose that we don't have access to. I feel confident we can do the work in-house. It's just going to be for the new pipe.
And this does slightly help offset the cost of material, at least.
So I do have an amended motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Finally, Mclean Road Bid.
The advertisement was in the Herald Dispatch on August 7th and August 14th. We did receive 3 bids. The first is
This
from
bid we can
Intelligent Construction.
Lowest bid versus all three.
Yeah, I would accept it.
First bid is from Selge Construction. A base bid and an alternate bid. I'll read the total for both bids. The total base bid is in the amount of $254,910.50. That's 254,910.50. And the alternate bid is in the amount of $167,032.50. That's 167,032.5.
The initial 254 included the alternate? Or
No.
Did not.
Separate.
Yep.
The second bid is from, I would say, Bremer Construction.
What did we pass? What type of?
The bid from Grimmer Construction is in the amount of $271,357.00. That's 271,357.00. The alternate bid is in the amount of $69,080. That's 69080.00.
And the last one is from H&G Underground Utilities.
Where was Grimmer based?
Lake County. And I have worked on projects with Grimmer in the past.
H&G, obviously local.
H&G presented their bid a little different. They don't have the, appear to have the alternate broken out. But they do have unit prices for each item. What we will do is, I'll read this price and then we'll review these and provide a bid report. But the bid based on this, without the alternate separated, is I'm missing something, is in the amount of $404,324.70. That's 404,324.70. And again, this has everything itemized but not separated out for the alternative. So we'll have to do a little bit of additional work on clarifying this.
So legally, can we do that, turn over all three bids to engineering and legal?
And then bring it back for approval. You can either accept one pending approval, or the better way to do it would be to just ask for review and then bring it back for the next Board of Works meeting.
And I'd also like to make sure whichever bid meets the responsible bidder ordinance that we passed as well. So do I have a motion to approve reviewing all 3 bids with engineering and legal to bring back before Board of Works at the next meeting?
Thanks. Well said. Yes.
I will second your motion. Further discussion? And again, local, there's no support or incentive to be local. It's just bids across. Okay. All right.
The county has a local bidder ordinance. It's sometimes difficult to enforce and difficult to kind of hold up legally, but if it's something that the council would like to take on, it's something that we could review in engineering and see how it works compared to other communities.
Well, and I know we have report companies that do work elsewhere, and we don't want to get into blocking them as well, so just curious.
Companies that work out of Porter County and Lake County a lot of times have LaPorte employees, so, it kind of surprises us sometimes we get, local folks that projects in their backyard, literally, but they just happen to work for a company that usually works out of Lake County, so.
So I do have a motion for the engineer and legal office to review all 3 bids and to make sure that they are also meeting the responsible bidder ordinance in effect. For the discussion.
Just a quick question on were all the alternates the same? You requested specific alternate bids?
Yeah, so H&G used the bid form originally provided, and I think there maybe was an addendum. I'll have to go look at the notes. And the other 2 had a different bid form. Okay. So that's kind of the difference. But it looked like all the items were still there, so we can review the cost of those items. Okay. And put them into an actual bid tabulation to verify where the breakout is and what the best price for the city is.
Further questions? Hearing none, all in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 2-0. Unfinished business. Other business. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I will second that. All in favor state by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you.